G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be finishing up Combiner Wars Constructicon / Devastator. As you can see, my camera is a little bit raised at the moment, just because I know I'm going to need to raise it up eventually as it is. And I keep fiddling with positioning in my camera holder. So we won't waste too much time. We will get into combining. First things first, we have, of course, Scrapper and Mixmaster, Squeak, and we will extend these pieces again. That's in where it's supposed to go. And we're going to, once again, open up these pieces. So we have the connection ports. And what's going to happen is, and I'm doing my best because I'm literally looking around my camera at the same time, this piece here is going to slide over this, and then these will plug into the back. So slide that into there. That's not really going to move, and this is just going to sort of tab into the back here. And same on the other side. Doesn't really go click or anything, but it does go where it's supposed to. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This one is a little bit more secure. We have this port here, which will go onto here. I don't think we need to get this connected. I think we just need to get it in roughly in place. What do we? Yeah, just sort of gives you a little bit of a leeway, and then tabs. Those ones tab a lot more clickety, like so. So those do tab in, but they don't really make much in the way of noise. All right, already getting big. We have long haul on stilts. All right, this is where I'm going to have to start standing up. Now, this next bit is a little annoying, so I'm going to have to probably raise the camera a little bit more, just so you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so as I was saying before, we have this here, we have this here, and we have this spot here and this spot here. That's all going to tab into long haul. And we're going to fold this back, and there's this port here too, which I'm trying to remember plugs into the back here. So there we go. So let's try to line this up. I will admit, lining all these pieces up can be a little bit of a hassle, but if everything goes where it's supposed to and stays plugged in, should be right. Oop, I'm a little unbalanced. There we go. Didn't quite have him tabbed where I want him. All right, now we're going to do one more thing before we attach the arms. So we have these pieces here, and we'll start with Scrapper. Figure out which one's which. Not that one, it's Bone Crushers. Alright, so basically fold that down and fold that out until it goes click. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug this big old port here, if you can see it, and I'm not really at a very good angle to actually look at it properly. That's going to plug into there, and we're going to rotate the wrist, and the wrist does have a tendency to pop out. Alright, same with Bone Crusher. So we fold that out, and we might as well get the wrist orientated properly first. And then we have this port here and peg in here. It's going to plug on there. Now, what's going to happen is we have... Did that fall down? Not really. I think that stays right where it is. Alright, so we have... so those side pegs didn't really plug in. Trying to see them from weird angles. It's going to stay out, otherwise our head is not going to be in the right spot. Alright, I think I got it. Alright, so we'll start with Bone Crusher. It's going to plug in here, but as I was saying, there's a peg, there's a port back here that will have to go into here. So we can move the leg, we'll get to in a minute. But we're going to plug that in as far as it'll go. And then come back here and try to find the tabbing point. So that was originally tabbed into the side of the tracks there, into the side of the body of the vehicle. Same thing on the other side with Scavenger. So we'll plug that in there, come back here and try to find that port. It does in some cases help to actually have his arm up. So we're basically looking at him from his underarm. And that tabs in right where we want it. And that's where we want that. All right, now we can bring in the couple of last pieces of the chest assembly, which is these pieces. Now, I do find it easier if you connect one side first. So that's going to slip in the back, and what's going to happen is this is going to sort of sit in here. There is this tab here, which is going to go in here. This piece is going to go, great news, tie up straight. I think I got it. That's just for show, but this is going to peg into here, which will lock all that into place. So, sort of line things up best we can, especially at my weird angle. I'm literally looking above the camera now. Get under there. There, and just sort of try to line. Oh yeah, there is a port on the front of hook. It's for that actual piece that I forgot about. So press that all in. Give it a bit of a squeeze, and I don't think I've got that actual tab. There we go. All right. So we have one side done. Now, it is easier with this way if you put this in and then sort of tab it in. That way you're not having to overly fight everything. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've transformed Devastator. Trying to find those peg holes in the side of Bone Crusher's leg. And there we go. My ankle's a little twisted. And we're almost done. Now we can finally do the head reveal. And as long as everything's out of the way, we flip this over. 2 pegs hold there. And voila. Beg my pardon. There is Devastator in his combine mode. And I will try do my best to get a decent angle of him. Unfortunately, most of my side table is, well, the side of the table is kind of full with stuff. So, how's that? There we go. For those of you who have seen probably some of my other Titan videos, you probably have seen Devastator combined already, but here we go. So there is Devastator all in his combined mode. He does have one extra accessory, which we can get to now. If I start tossing on the ground, I'll probably have to move me in forward. We have these pieces, and all you do is plug that into there. And we'll bring you a little bit closer for the moment. You can just slide it into his hand. He doesn't tab in or anything. You can hold it perfectly fine. And for those of you who are wondering, you can actually untab it all, and you still have this port here and this post here if you want to use it for weapon storage. Oh, by the way, we flatten that out and it just sits on there. So it looks all nice and snug. So there we go. So he does look amazing. He's big. He's very huge. He was our second combiner. I don't know, second Titan. I don't know why that's not quite going in as far as it should. Could be just wear and tear for all I know. You didn't see it anyway. I'll just filling with his inner thigh. Sounds weird now that I said that. So there is that. So we'll just take his gun away for the time being. And we will do our best to go through articulation. Oh, God. Head can almost do a full 360, but hook gets in the way, even if you push that all the way. You can get up if you untab things, but you do not get down. Bone crusher. If you pull it out a little bit, because we had that black piece under there, we can get a full 360, and we can get arm out that far. We have bicep rotation. We have elbow bend that gets you that far. We have wrist. We have typewriter fingers. Thumb does not move. Scavenger is exactly the same. We have ratcheted ab crunch, which you may need to unplug this to get it a little bit further out of the way. And that does not sound good after all these years. I will not lie. All right. We can flip this skirt up and we can move the back piece out, or at least unplug the back piece. You do not want to unplug now. Or is something in the way? Actually, hook might be in the way. But I'm pretty sure he's not. I'm pretty sure it's just... I was pretty sure. You can get it untabbed, but yeah, I think I'm hitting on top of hook up here. So, you have multiple joints in the legs, and because of weight, it's going to droop. So, you can get the top thigh, which is up here, which is long haul's thigh up that far. You can get it back that far. You can get his leg out all that way. It's a nice tight ratchet, so it holds very well. Actually, probably get further high if bone crusher wasn't in the way. Just plug that back in. If you want to, I think more likely that's meant to be the leg, although it doesn't hold either, and it doesn't go back. So technically that is long haul's his knee gets you back that far on both sides, kind of locks, and now I'm getting things to untab. Get back up there. Like I said, he has multiple joints in his knees, so things do stay together well. And I don't know why Scrapper has just completely come untabbed. Get back under there, boy. Maybe I didn't have his feet in far enough. I know you can't really see any of this. I'm just filling with his knees. Alright, so you have ankle tilt in, and of course ankle tilt in. Of course, you can use this for toe and that for toe, but I highly suggest you don't, because all that's going to do is unbalancing. But I would, you know, if you want him to do an A stance, I don't know if you can see that, you can hold one out, bring each in if you want more of a stance. So, like so. I usually just have him standing straight up and down. So there is that. And hooks untabbed a little bit. I will say this guy's a few years old and he doesn't do much movement. So things are probably not as secure as they possibly once were. But even saying that, if you get a good copy of this guy, I don't think you'd have too much trouble if things sort of don't tab in completely as they is. Alright, size comparisons. Now, I am not doing what I did with Scorponok and bringing every single Titan into my room here. I am just doing one, well, apart from Optimus Prime. So, not the best angle, but if I drop the camera, apologize for motion sickness. Oops. He stands, actually that's probably a pretty good angle, all things considered, so I can clock that in place. So he comes up to about Devastator's crotch, give or take. So there we go. And last but not least, who is currently my main combiner that I love so much. Bring Devastator over a bit, and this is always fun. And the day I do this is going to be even more fun. My Zeta Bruticus. And we'll bring the camera up a little bit. So, even though Devastator is a Titan, he's not, how would you put it? I want to say he's probably about the size, he's a little bit shorter than a proper Titan. So he's about a mega height. So there we go. So there is third-party Bruticus next to Devastator. And while I would prefer Devastator to be actually roughly about the same height of Bruticus, I'm waiting for the day that I find a decent substitute. Because right now, honestly, despite the fact that I think we're getting close to the Devastator Wars, like we did with the Constructicon Wars, like we did with the Stunticons a couple of years back, which thankfully Vans Toys has finally put more orders up for Dead End, so I have finally pre-ordered him, even though I've got every other Stunticon in their collection. But that's getting away from the point. So yeah, so he's about a mega height. I probably should have brought Mega in here, but yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's do that. 1 second. Magic. Ta-da! I magically turned Bruticus into a Mega. But even saying what I said before, Mega is actually taller than him. So, yeah, even if I raise the camera a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, to get you a better view. As you can see, even I honestly thought he was taller, about the same height as Omega, but he's actually shorter. Even with my Omega doing an A stance and Devastator doing an A stance, he is a little bit shorter. So pretty much Power of the Prime's Predaking is roughly Devastator's height as well. So yeah. So there we go. So that is the final conclusion for the Combiner Wars Constructicons. And at present, I cannot see any reason or any excuse to replace this guy with any alternative Constructicon set. I know MMC's doing one, I know X-Transbots are doing one, and I know some new company that I've never heard of is doing one as well. Unless they're going to be like my Bruticus height, I don't want them. They have to be big to replace these Constructicons. So honestly, complete honesty, and I just realized I still don't have one of Longhaul's arms right in the right spot. It's sort of misaligned. Honestly, I do not see any current desire nor need to replace my Combiner Wars Constructicons, Devastator, whatever you want to go by. I cannot see an excuse to replace him. Honestly, he has gaps in places. Some places he has weird joints in his legs. He does hold some decent posing if you can get it there. But honestly, yeah, at this point in time, I can't see any need whatsoever to replace him. So if you have the option to get yourself a Combiner Wars Devastator, or what was it? I'm trying to think of what the Takara version was. Unite Warrior. Devastator, which I think is actually more chrome where the purple is and whatnot, which I'd be laughing if that's still around. Go for it. As long as the parts are there, as long as it's in a good condition, get yourself a Combiner Wars Devastator. But apart from that, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. Tell me what's your favorite thing about the Constructicons. Honestly, my favorite thing is the fact that the leader is not the torso or the head. It is literally his right leg. And Devastator and the Constructicons are the only bots, apart from, I suppose you could count King Neptune. No, I suppose Hardshell, I think is his name, is still the leader because he's the torso. So yeah, the Constructicons are the only ones, even with the train bots. The Constructicons are the only one where the leader is actually the leg. But you let me know in the comments what's your favorite thing about the Constructicons. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.